I think it just underscores how communication skills are really everything. It helps you build trust, earn promotions, expand your network, show up as a leader. So we are finding out that if you are a good communicator, it could be worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. I wanted to do a quick pod on this subject as I've been monitoring the last couple of years. And even recently, you saw Stephen A. Smith from ESPN get the reportedly 5-year, $100 million deal. This is starting to sound like these NBA, NFL contracts, right? For star quarterbacks or mid level exceptions, whatever you want to call it. But a 5-year, $100 million reportedly. We know Joe Rogan signed a couple at this point, $250 million deals with Spotify. Alex Cooper of Call Her Daddy, I think around $125 million from SiriusXM. And as I've seen these deals, it's interesting. Like, I'm not looking at it so much from these are talent is probably the right word, but you're looking at talent no different than a Denzel Washington or Leonardo DiCaprio that command an audience, and ultimately that's worth something. And the ESPNs and the Sirius and the Spotify's think they can make a bigger ROI on top of that deal, obviously, with ratings, downloads, awareness, all those different things. But the thing that jumped out to me, especially as a leader, and I thought it would be very interesting for someone like you who's listening, who's the director, the CMO, working in the social department, trying to build your career. What came out to me, and I could speak on this on behalf of running a company for 12 years, being a CEO, being an employer, but these massive media deals, I don't look at as much from like a sports or entertainment contract standpoint. I think it just underscores how communication skills are really everything from holding and a captivating conversation to reading the room. All these different attributes are so incredibly valued, not only to Stephen A. Smith and Alex Cooper and Joe Rogan, but to every professional. Warren Buffett is famous for his quote that said, the one easy way to become worth 50% more than you are now is to hone your communication skills, both written and verbal. And I don't think enough of us professionals think about this core soft skill that every employer is looking for. And what separates a lot of these VPs and these people that can manage up really well and command the high salaries and run these huge departments is really this incredible ability to communicate both upward, downward, verbally, written. Um, and sure, Stephen A., Joe Rogan, Alex Cooper, the list goes on, Pat McAfee. These personalities bring huge followings with them, and media companies can monetize and leverage these voices, but they also know how to talk. They know how to listen. Maybe not Stephen A. That was not a shot at Stephen A. But they know how to talk. They know how to listen. They know how to ask really great questions, and they connect in a way that keeps people engaged, which is a skill that all of us should be striving to get better at each and every day. So I know as you're listening, you're probably not going for that $100 million contract like Stephen A is with ESPN. But let's be honest for a second. If you could articulate ideas, distill complex info into something simple, keep a conversation going naturally, these are all total game changers in your career. And I can speak on behalf of just myself and my perspective. I started off as a YouTuber. I always had podcasts and blogging and just watching back my podcast, not so much from an egotistical standpoint, but then notice, ooh, I don't like that verbal crutch that I use. Ooh, I'm talking way too fast. Ooh, I'm saying way too much, which these are all things that even as I'm speaking right now, I'm trying to be cognizant of to become a better speaker, to be more engaging, and to hopefully, as you're in the gym, you're in the car, that this all sounds good and there's enough articulation in my voice and I'm distilling this complex info in a simple way to understand that is not boring. So I just wanted to really, I don't think a lot of people took that from these different headlines that, you're seeing on screen here as we're on YouTube or you're listening, on the podcast, on an audio version. This idea of really your ability to communicate, these can be an example of that, but it helps you build trust, earn promotions, expand your network, show up as a leader. And my question to you, and I think I've been trying to challenge you all a little bit more this year. I took it back in the New Year's resolution days, back in December, January of, me and Aaron Keith did a really good podcast that you should go back and listen to if you haven't, which is really all about building your best year yet and the toolkit and the plan to do that. But my question to you as professionals out there, especially working in marketing and social, is do you practice public speaking? Do you watch back? Do you record your Zoom calls or your internal meetings and watch back the tape? So awkward. Oh my god, that's cringy. I'm already getting goosebumps. I'm already just, like, getting the chills for thinking about having to watch myself back with my boss, but I'm telling you, if you can lean into that uncomfortableness, the power that you can gain from that, and really think about this for a second. The top sports athletes and Olympic athletes in the world, they all watch the tape. Whether it's Michael Jordan or Michael Phelps, like, everybody's watching tape to get better and noticing very small intricacies by the way they perform that they can then take to the next competition and get a little bit better. And I know we all try to act like, we are so thoughtful and we don't have some subconscious biases, but we know if somebody shows up with a baseball cap backwards and a hoodie and their lighting is kind of bad on Zoom and they're slouching down, subconsciously, no matter how thoughtful of a human you are judging these people. You're judging by the way, can I trust this person? Is this someone that I want to do business with? Is this someone that I can see and vision with running the department at my company? And that's just a virtual, example. Obviously, in person, it goes a whole different way as far as how you enter a room, your energy, the way you speak, the way you project, the way you are succinct. Are you talking way too much and just repeating the same thing over and over again? So, um, again, I think watching the tape back is one, and do you ask for feedback? Ask your boss. Like, let me ask you a question, like, do you think I do a good job setting meetings up? Do you think I do a good job wrapping up next steps? Is there any better way I can summarize or make your life easier? Richard Branson also has an amazing quote, "Communication is the most important skill any leader can possess." So, I thought that would be a good pod, a good reminder for us all, a good reminder for myself as well, that we're seeing this in media. It's incredibly profitable as we transition. The Jay Lenos and the Conan O'Briens and the Johnny Carsons, these guys that had the mic, they always demanded a lot of money, and we've seen that in media for some time, so that's not really different. But now that podcasting is much more of this art form where it's asking questions, it's being engaging, it's being able to hold a conversation for an hour, you're really starting to see that these people aren't getting paid to read a teleprompter. They're getting paid to engage, act on the fly, be someone that can communicate, but also have good energy that really welcomes somebody. And, I think Howard Stern, no matter how you think about him, he's really been able to grow into one of the best interviewers in the game. It's almost like watching or listening to a therapist as some of these celebrities and actors and actresses that come into his studio are revealing some of the most darkest and deep secrets or the most vulnerable things because they feel so comfortable with him. And he's learned how to be engaging with his audience, but also how to pull out some of those stories that not many interviewers can do. So you have to kind of tip your hat when you see some of these folks demanding some of these dollars and cents, if you will, for their talent and their ability to communicate. So whether you make 100 million like Stephen A. Smith, 100 grand, 50 grand, wherever you are in your career, another reminder, just make sure that communication, watch back the tape, ask questions, get better at communication, written and verbal, because it's going to really allow you to increase so many things in your career, the way you make money, the way that you move and build your network. It's an amazing thing. So let's all get better at it together. So there's my challenge. Let me know how that goes. We always appreciate comments, likes, subscribes as always. Glad you came into this episode and listened to this. Hopefully it was valuable for you. This has been yet another edition of the Business of Social podcast. My name is David Brickley, and it's all been powered by STN Digital.